My name is Huda. I am 30 years old.
我是林祥胜，今年68岁。
我是 Sherry， 我今年40。
Even I myself, I'm like double standard.
父母亲就每次就说重男轻女啦。
Me being a house husband, I don't mind.
我每天驾车都给人家 discriminate。
其实在我那个年代，男女都根本就不平等，没有可能平等的。尤其是从家里开始，父母亲就每次就说重男轻女啦，男生都就什么都不需要做，哎，你们男的全部出去，去玩，等一下做饭做好了，我们就喊一声，你们就进来吃了，而且男生是先坐下来吃。
所以你觉得啦，what is gender equality to
Yeah, this reminds me of the 台剧娘家，like 嫁出去的女儿就像泼出去的水，水也会蒸发，然后循环变成雨下回来 ，right? So like I think the concept doesn't make sense to me 啦 ，because ultimately like I think 还是要尽孝道。就算我嫁出去了，我还是会回来，我还是会记得养育我的这个家庭啊。
Me being a house husband, love it. If I was a house husband, well, sure, I don't mind. I really would not mind because that doesn't mean I have it easier though. Because I know I can also maintain the house for her. Because if you're going to associate breadwinner as male and housekeeper as female, then it's you're living in the past, I feel.
在我的那个年代呢，女生读大学呢，不是那么的普遍啊。但是当我跟他讲爸爸我要当律师的时候呢，他问我，你知道什么是蓝领跟白领吗？然后他就跟我解释了很多东西，带我见了他的一些律师的朋友。这种支持是有钱买不到的。对我来说呢，如果是说读书、做工，不应该有男女之别。
Okay, for me, gender equality means in the eyes of the law, you are equal in every respect. That means you have equal opportunity, equal remuneration, and equal freedom.
Well, what it means is when men and women are treated equally. It is an ideal, and I think it's something that we should work towards.
对我来说呢，所谓的性别平等是男生跟女生之间呢，在发言权跟在做决定的时候都有所谓的 equal rights and equal say。Household level 的话，现在已经有开始不一样了。我有去过1-2个同事的家，他们是那个在家里做家务、在家里煮饭、洗衣的，是爸爸。
在澳大利亚读大学的时候，老师曾经有拿过一个 case study in regards to this in terms of salary 工钱。那个 case study 有讲 globally 女生的工资其实比男生少。可能你看两个高职位的，女跟男做一样的职位，可是女的会比较低一点。Yeah, it's just something that I feel is not right. Yeah, both, give the same thing. Maybe 读书是一样努力，年纪是一样，很多东西是付出的，所以我觉得应该有一个平等点。
Gender equality to me is being able to be given the same opportunities.And of course, at the same time, being able to have the same starting salary as men. So women should be given the opportunity to have the same starting salary as men. NS or no NS, that one is a different conversation altogether. Okay, but in terms of starting salary, it should be the same. And of course, at the same time, leadership positions in organizations should also be balanced based on skill sets and not necessarily based on gender.
薪水方面，我觉得男生可能会比女生来得好一点点，就可能是因为我们有当过那2年兵嘛。对，不过我觉得这个是 justifiable 的，因为我们比女生可能这个在事业的跑道跟开始的时候是晚了2年，我当成是一个所谓的赔偿啦，所以时间就是金钱。
男生 I would want to be a guy if I'm like given a second chance at life, because right, simply put, every month I don't need to pay for like, you know, pads or tampons. That's like huge amount of money saved. I don't need to go through like biological hormonal changes. I don't want to be productive, or I don't want to not have headache. But because the body just works that way, hormonal changes is real, is biological, and I cannot control it.
如果你是一个很想要很 successful in career wise 的，你肯定做一个女人你就会吃亏了。以前我第一个孩子一出世1个月，就是我坐月后1个月，他就在公司长大。那时段不懂是怎么过的，每次生了孩子，我差不多足足1年半是好像 zombie 的，因为每天晚上都不够睡。所以因为我又 breastfeed for one and a half years， 所以有时就把他直接绑在身上给他吸，然后你在那边做东西。但在一个男生，如果你每天公干，就是很勤劳的一直公干 ，to everybody 他会看着你，他会说，你很 successful， 你很 hardworking， 把他从来都不会跟你讲你的 family 你 neglect 了。But for women to be that， 他们会讲 you neglected your family。
I think traditionally we have certain roles as a man to go and put food on the table, and maybe your responsibilities are quite clear. You pretty much can do what you like. You know, people are not going to question you. But if it's a woman, right, and if she says she doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to have kids, want to focus on education, then people question. Given that, right, men have it easier.
我觉得女生比较吃香。怎么说呢？可能是读书的时候啦，或者在外头的时候有看到的。当男生跟女生之间有所谓的意见不合，或者那种小小的意见不合，女生撒娇通常会比较有效，男生撒娇的话反而会很欠扁。随着我们的这个社会对于两性的这个观点开始有一些改变了，最近不是有一个所谓的 Me Too 的这个 campaign 嘛？说女生的这个说话的声音跟说话的这个 strength 会开始比以前来的有力，说人家会更想要去听。
I'm happier being a woman. I'm very happy to be a woman. I love to embrace my femininity. I also enjoy the things that makes me a woman. It's okay, I guess, sometimes for us to acknowledge that we are physically slightly weaker than men, physically, okay? And that's okay to ask for help, I guess. There were a couple of situations where I was just pushing, equipments and all of that as part of my work, and there will be some man that comes forward and I'm like, do you need help? So I think that's nice. It's about being nice, more of that, and that often comes with being a woman too. So of course, do is take advantage if you can.
Even I myself, I'm like double standard. You know, like the very basic example, right, of carrying heavy stuff. Okay, by gender equality means like, even if it's 50 kg each, the guy and the girl should be able to carry both yourself, right? That's gender equality. Basically, like by the structure or like the biological conditions of a body, like to accustom and adjust like the expectations. I think that's what we should try to achieve. I don't think we have like reached gender equity yet, but at the same time, I don't think like as a woman in a society that I face huge discrimination. Like my basic rights are protected by the government, especially like in terms of education. Everyone is given like, the same rights or same access to education as compared to like some of our neighboring countries in Asia, in Southeast Asia. So I think like in terms of that, I'm very glad and very blessed to be in Singapore because like I'm not discriminated against. The first step that can make me to become a better person, just because I'm a woman. Yeah.
我想这一点不平等是因为我也有看到，在这么多年，社会啦，甚至旁边的人呢，都慢慢的走进这条路，就是说给男女平等，但是还有很多事情要做，还有很多地方我们可以进一步的去做。
Well, I think there's certainly room for improvement. I think I would like to see more women in our boardrooms, holding senior positions in government, and I would like to see lesser reports or incidences of women being targeted as victims of sexual harassment, victims of sexual crimes. The perpetrators are usually men. This just shows that man needs to take leadership in changing the narrative, in the way we foster a culture of inclusion, that culture of respect. Just tell you one story. This one was my great-grandmother, you know. I think I was primary 3 then. I was about 9 years old. I always took more food than I could eat, you know. So my mother was very angry. My great-grandmother pretended to take a little bit rice, and when my mother was not looking, she took the whole plate of my food onto her plate, and she ate it. And then after that, she told me to go away. I thought that was the most remarkable and touching and heartwarming thing, because it showed, it delivered the lesson, you know, the lesson of not wasting food, and also the lesson that second chances can help.
Would you like a tissue?
Okay.
Do you think crying is a sign of weakness for men?
I think when we talk about gender equality, men should also be given the right to express their emotions.
The state of our gender equality is a 3 out of 5, which means there's still room for improvement. But of course, this boils down to the women themselves too. Women tend to reject career advancement opportunities. That's also one of the things that I think women need to work on. So you have the opportunity for you to climb up the career ladder. They will be like, me? No lah, I don't think I can do it. So don't need to be humble. It's okay, just take it and then figure it out later.
I would say that there is room to improve, and just the stereotypes that comes with some jobs, it needs to be changed now. For example, I'll just use what I do as a profession. If a male were to say I work in aviation, the assumption is that they are a pilot. If a female were to say I work in aviation, the assumption is air stewardess. But I know some female pilots, and I also know actually quite a lot of male stewards.
然后我爸爸本身是一个护士，所以我爸爸以前有跟我讲过，想说他那个年代的时候啊，他想当护的时候，每个人都讲啊，你要去做 MISI， 你不觉得你很稀奇？人他就来，可是我喜欢哦，他去做了。有一段时间在澳大利亚的时候，我是尝试这个工作，呀，还是会有歧视呀，不管是你做这个工作，人家觉得说这个是女生应该做的，或者是我在做一名护士的时候，病人还有病人的家庭将注重你是一个男生的护士，可能他觉得说男生不贴心女生贴心，其实不一定哦。我做人生医生说我还蛮贴心的，所以我是照顾老人家的呀，所以他们很喜欢我。
我每天驾车都给人家 discriminate。我驾一辆大货车，我常常停车的时候，我会看到，身边怎么这么多人在那边看我，好像，这个女人可以 parallel park 这么大的一辆车进去嘛？常常都会有这种问题。还可以更好，很多 different roles 还是有感觉，就是人家的想法还是觉得男生会比较适合啦。一个晚上，我的女儿就看了一套戏，隔天早上，我女儿就很奇怪，就跟我讲：“妈咪 ，I want to become a firefighter。”我就讲：“哦 ，really？” 然后我就想 ：“OK， 然后我就快点去 Google 啦，去 search， 新加坡有没有 female 的 firefighter？ 然后找到，有嘞，然后我就给她看那个 article， 讲真係 God no got firefighter 咧。
I got this one at my maternal grandma's place in Malaysia.
这个蛮好玩的呀，这个就是我的年代了，拿着手。
So no, if it's 1v1, then you play 3 colors.
Okay. So let me see.
The first, I think the one was like a brick like that.